a lot of these guys, they subcontract these gypsy outfits out south. Small boys, get them cables up there.
Well, we got fiber optic in the street, service electric, but they haven't said anything about extra connections. I mean, I'm interested to know what it's like, how we compete with Comcast. I have Comcast, Comcast is so, it seems like they haven't done anything to actually offer the service. I don't know if they're buying it or
That's just the way it is. So.
How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you? I'm sorry? I don't honestly, I can pull that up.
I'm thinking about reasonable deductible for the township.
Okay,
If it makes sense.
okay. The only one that is actually have anything right now is Tab. I would say maybe 2,000 right now. And that's the,
Official, yeah. I still have my nose on my desk to get these to the office. It's crazy. I don't feel.
the extras that with
I did.
Oh, okay.
I'll take that.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of the
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sign-in sheet, McKenna. Discussion for 194 Muslim Church Road.
So, well, my wife wrote this, so I'm just gonna read it. We're here to bring it to the attention of the supervisors what our future intentions are for the use of the buildings located on the property of 194 Muslim Church Road. It is our intention to hold private events and use the house as a rental intermittently. The events would be invitation only. We are anticipating the future need for a permit to install a stone parking lot and possibly upgrades to the septic system. The current crop ground will remain in production agriculture with us as the operators. It is becoming a hot topic with our other townships, with investors purchasing farms for the sole purpose of becoming commercial properties, and that is not what we are doing. Our main focus is to farm the land and bring in some supplemental income with the existing building.
So you say private events, it would be like, I mean, I guess just as like a wedding venue. Is that?
So, you gonna talk or?
Go ahead.
So McKenna and I have talked about this. I keep hearing from different folks, and Chris, please chime in if you know anything different. We have always viewed a wedding venue or whatever venue it is as a commercial business. and requires proper bathrooms. If you're in a barn, you may need sprinklers. There's a lot of things that go into it. And McKenna's talking about a private facility by invitation only. I'm not familiar with that. Even some of our state legislators keep talking about this agri-tainment, but nobody has ever produced any documentation for it. I know Dave Maloney's big on that, and Judy Schwenk has been, but nobody, when you ask them, has ever been able to produce any legislation that you can do what they're claiming without going through the building code. I mean, you're turning a facility into a commercial business. You're inviting the public in. So, Chris, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
No, I agree with your conclusion. Just to add to that, if you have a farm and you have a wedding for your children in the barn, that's fine. That's a family event and you can invite your relatives and friends. That's not a commercial activity. But when you offer to rent your property for an event, that's what makes it commercial. And the building code, I think, is clear that when you have, and again, when you say by invitation only, that distinguishes it from a restaurant or from a place where people could just walk in off the street and get served. So I understand that. So, but by invitation, it's not by your invitation, it's by somebody else's invitation who is renting your facility. And that is, I think, innocent people who are being brought to your property for an event. And there's, I think, an expectation that it's safe. And the purpose of the building code is to ensure that people can go into a building and they're not at risk of injury or high fire risk or, the things that can happen if you don't have compliance with the building code. I would be concerned if I were the owner of the property about, what if I have all these people in a building and there is a fire? I mean, that would be the worst case scenario. So I think it's, and also structurally, you have to ensure that the structure is appropriate for, just the integrity of the structure as it stands, plus any loads that you're going to bring in terms of people standing on the floor of the barn or whatever the case may be, just to ensure that it's safe. So I think building code compliance is appropriate and necessary, and I share Jeff's opinion that there is no exception in the code for these kinds of activities and these kinds of facilities. So I think anybody who is a licensed code official in the state of Pennsylvania has a duty to uphold those codes and would be, risking their professional credentials if they didn't tell the township exactly what Jeff is saying here tonight. As far as zoning is concerned, I think, different townships have taken different approaches. I mean, I've been working for months up in Towahocken Township on an agri-tainment, agritourism zoning amendment. And frankly, it's been very challenging to meet the desire of the Board of Supervisors to facilitate this type of use for the economic benefit of property owners against the concerns of residents who think it's going to destroy the rural character of the community and, introduce traffic and, all kinds of concerns that it's going to be detrimental to their neighborhood. So, it is possible for the township to look at regulation through zoning of this type of use. But again, I think it'll probably be the same here as it is in Tohoku Township, where you're gonna have different points of view about whether this is a good thing or not. I mean, obviously, as a property owner, I see why you would want to have the ability to do this. You know, it's an economic opportunity. A lot of people are eager to get into a rural location and to enjoy the outdoors and historic structures, if that's what you have to offer. But it's also something that neighbors may not see the same way. And the supervisors have a duty to balance, you know, property owners' interests, not only the property owner who has the desire to use the property with this type of activity, but also the other people that perceive that they're going to be impacted by it. So I don't know if it have you submitted any permit application or anything to
No,
Jeff
I
on
just
this?
wanted to get this all.
He just wants to know where he's standing.
We'll know where I stand with it. And we're not trying to hide behind agriculture
Yeah.
and
So,
do anything like that.
so is it two things, Jeff? One's probably zoning and one's building code.
Yeah, I think the zoning, I mean, they both can be worked through.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, the building code is gonna have some issues that it's gonna require an investment. You've already made a huge investment, I realize. But to do it properly, you know, to follow the building code, there's gonna be changes that you're gonna have to make. And it's not gonna be as, unfortunately, as inexpensive and as easy as what you would like it to be. I'm willing to sit down and hear any ideas you have, McKenna. I'm not opposed to it, I have to follow the building code, and that's gonna be a conflict with this. And I know we talked about it a little bit before. It's just that, you know, I understand there's another property in the township that's probably gonna be trying to do the same thing, and, you know, it's kind of it's an issue that we gotta confront, that we're doing things properly. I don't wanna shut these people down, but I also have a job to enforce the building code.
And a liability issue.
Yeah.
If someone gets hurt and it's not, I mean, I'm sure for insurance reasons, they're gonna wanna, they've been getting so tough on the insurance thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if my suggestion, if you wanna pursue this further, the zoning thing would probably be first, or at least understand what it's gonna cost. I think that you can get work through, I mean, I'm very supportive of exactly what you're talking about, but I can't say, hey, this is gonna fly.
As far as zoning, what would have to be changed, do you think?
Well, it wouldn't be considered a permitted use, the way the ordinance is written
So you
today.
need to get what, a variance?
It would either be a variance or you could ask for an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Are you on a preserve property?
No,
No, okay.
no, we're not preserving.
No, that would be- that would be
business
a-
on.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
That would be a big
Yeah.
problem.
So I think the zoning is a way to get around it, but then you should understand what you're
Yep.
getting into.
Right.
I mean, I support it. I think it's a great thing. I know where it's at. I think that something that would be very attractive for somebody.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place, and like I agree with you. I don't want to see people come in and buy it up and chop it up and put a house and do whatever. And I know you got to still make the payment.
Well,
But-
I can tell you, we're using this as supplemental income.
Right.
If it comes down to that, it's gonna get chopped up and sold.
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
could be sold off pretty quick.
Yeah.
We don't wanna do that.
yeah.
And I do wanna follow.
But just for
I just wanted to get this out in the open.
Yeah, for liability purposes, just to follow. the
I mean,
code.
our liability stuff is, we've checked a bunch of this, and it's certificate of insurance. They have to provide $2 million coverage to have their portion of the property.
Yeah, and even for
Now-
that, I don't know what that involves, but they probably would come out and inspect it. You just don't want to put yourself, and the township can't put itself in a
I
position.
mean, where do you fall with Airbnbs? People have a lot of Airbnbs in this township. Are they getting inspections? No. And the barn is the same thing. We're renting out as an Airbnb. I mean, they have Airbnb venues that you can rent out.
It
So, I
does.
mean, I don't
Yeah,
know
and
argue
listen,
about all this.
I-
I want it out in the open. That's why I
Yeah.
came here. But
Yeah, it does, and there's, I see
See,
where you're
this
coming from.
becomes
You
a
got-
place of assembly though. And that changes, once they categorize that into a place of assembly, then everything changes.
I agree with that. But now, if you have people go on your property and they go, oh, I'm gonna go I wanna go look at this thing, and they bring 10 people and go in your barn, you're liable for that. I mean, that's an assembly right there.
But you're turning this into a place of assembly. So I'm just telling you, it's not that we're against it, I'm not against
I
it.
mean, I can, there's nothing in the codes that says I can't have a picnic on my property for 150 people.
No, it's not.
My best friend could be getting married at the farm,
Right,
and I wouldn't have a permit for that. Every person that comes on the property to have a wedding for, yeah, they're my friend. I mean, that's another way you play this. I don't want to be like that. I want to follow his code and do whatever needs to be done to the building within reason. I'm fine with that. But I don't want to have to go through changing zoning for this, or you have to be partially commercial or anything like that. There's a lot of businesses on farms here that shouldn't be there either. We all know that.
I don't disagree with that. But
So,
we try and make it fair and make it as simple as it can to facilitate something like this. I think the zoning would be an easy process. I think that would get done, but the building codes, I mean, that's a huge liability to bring people on there and somebody gets hurt.
So-
The township didn't approve it, and then everybody opens up for liability, and that's a bigger fear for me and losing everything versus just trying to, and I don't know what the cost is for sprinklers. I mean, I don't know any of that stuff.
Well,
I'm just saying, and I know where you're coming from with the
it could
Airbnb.
be as simple as putting exit signs up instead of sprinkler system for a fire. You know, that kind of stuff.
I would tend to research that and try and get yourself protected the best you can. Know what you're getting into, but before you spend the money, I would tackle the zoning thing. I think that would be a pretty simple step, in my opinion, because
Okay.
I think, can't talk for these. I support what you want to do. I support that's kind of agribusiness. It's the only way to keep these farms from being chopped up and made. I mean, it's just a financial
Yep.
reality.
Yep.
So we support that. I support that. I think this board supports that. The building code thing is just another thing that's a liability that we don't go to the extreme. We got to follow
Again,
rules.
it's doable. Just, we want to investigate to see how far it has to go. And, to do that, we should talk about some plans, some more concrete ideas is, you and I talked about numerous properties that you tell me that you're doing this type of thing. And I'd like more detail on how they're doing it. There has to be something more than, oh, he's a friend of mine.
That's how a lot of people are getting away with it. I mean, hey, you want to have a wedding? You can have it at my place. I mean, I'm looking at that point of view. I guess I have a hard time, not saying I have to follow these codes or anything, but I'll bring something up. You got the corn shed over there. Did you go through that for codes and stuff?
Well, yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
everything's fair, but like bathrooms and that, a porta john's fine. I'm not gonna put a full facility in now,
I think
when I can
there's
get a trailer.
I think there's ways to get
Yeah,
it done, but I don't think skirting the rules is in your best interest for your own personal liability, in my opinion. And the township cannot say, hey, go ahead and do it because you get sued, we get sued, and we left you do it. That we can't do either. I mean, there's a way. I mean, you should figure out what you want to do, see what it costs, and if it makes sense.
I know you can get even nice bathrooms that they bring in a trailer and that are suitable for high-end events. It depends, a lot of it depends on your occupant load and how many people are gonna be attending events. That's gonna dictate a lot of that.
I mean, and the big thing is, it's not like we're inviting the public, hey, we're having an open house here, we're gonna have 20 wineries come in, open to the public. Like, we don't wanna do that.
A lot of people do what you're talking about, and it's a huge business. It just
Because
has
of Lancaster County.
Yeah, it's big. It's big here too. I mean, that's more than a church. People get married in barns now, but it still has to follow the rules to some extent. Everybody. I mean, try and make it fair for everybody. If we know someone's not doing something, Quarter Chance is an example, and we say, hey, this is what has to be done. Get up to code. So, I would get with Jeff, get an idea what's allowable, and the zoning. Probably before you invest. The zoning would probably be the first thing, and I think that's a doable thing. It's not an everyday wedding, you know what I mean? It's a limited basis or an everyday function. I'm sure there's ways.
Basically looking for a variance.
Yep.
To conduct this type of activity there. And I would try and I know this is gonna be a process that's gonna be evolving, but try and brainstorm with your wife and come up with your best list of things that you want to do there. Because once you have a variance, you don't want to keep coming back to the board to try and change it. So you want to get the use that you want at the beginning. Because again, that's an expense. But I think, and I'm sure you put a lot of thought into this before you bought the property. I'm not saying you didn't.
No, that was actually a shoot from the hip, it's for sale. We're
it
taking it.
Well,
is a beautiful spot too.
Yeah.
It'd be-
Yeah, I didn't even want the place. I wanted 15 acres out of it. I called them like, you wanna sell me 15 acres? No. I called them back, I'm like, you wanna sell the whole place? They're like, yep. I know.
Yeah.
Break that one to the life.
But I get what your intent is, and we'd be definitely supportive. It just has to be something we can do.
Gotta go through the process.
The process, and we make it as painless as we possibly can, because we support that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the rest is, I know where you're coming from too with the rules and regulations that can get out of hand. But that's what we're dealt with. All right?
Yep.
Come up with a plan, talk to Jeff and see what you can work out if it's feasible. That's the best I can tell you now. All right?
Yep.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes from August 11th.
Look good to me.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Code enforcement.
All right, if you have your list, we issued 8 permits for the period. Total construction value of $114,102.92. There were 6 residential building permits and 2 non-residential permits. Issued 7 COs, 15 building inspections, a bunch of property maintenance issues and zoning and enforcement issues. 7 compliance achieved. So just a couple updates. I spent some time over at the property on Crisscross where the beams were. If you've driven past recently, it looks much better than it did. He's gotten the grass cut. We had issued a notice of violation to the property owner there, and I think he's done a pretty good job. Is it perfect? It's not perfect yet, but it's much improved over what it had been. When I was there, I walked, of course, on the road and then go onto the property. I didn't see any activity from hives. I didn't see any bees clustering anywhere. They could have been in hives. I wasn't able to see that. So I don't know what else he had said he wanted Chris and I to look into what we could do there to eliminate the hives, if that's the board's preference. I think we could probably come up with something there that we could have an ordinance adopted that that would eliminate beehives. I don't think it's something you want to do carte blanche, but I think in certain zoning districts, in R2, for example, it's probably an easy way to start with
Would we
that.
limit them from a distance from the property lines?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is, it's a safety issue, and I think in this context, setback is the critical factor in whether it's safe or not. Certainly the bees can migrate, they're mobile, but I think if you have a decent sized setback, it'll greatly improve the situation over the thing we heard about here last month. But we could have a problem with existing uses if we try to do it through zoning. So there's really two strategies for this. One is if we think that there's not any of these out there that are in violation of whatever setback you might set, we can put it in place, and then no new ones could come in that would be closer to the property line. If you have an existing situation, they're going to be grandfathered with the zoning regulation. So in that case, you'd have to do some kind of a health and safety regulation, not a zoning regulation to require the setback to be enforced. I think we could do something like that because we have, facts here about injury, and that makes it a health and safety issue. So there's, two different approaches. So I guess in terms of recommending which of those two strategies you would use, I'd have to know whether we have a lot of these and how close they are to property. So in this case, did you see hives? You didn't see bees, but did you see hives?
I saw a couple hives, not a lot of them, not like it used to be at one point in time. But if you drive around this township, you see beehives at various locations, and it's beneficial to a farming community to have the pollinators in the area, so they're doing their shtick.
Well, typically I see them in the boundary between a field and a wooded area and in an orchard. I don't typically see them right next to a house.
Right. But there are numerous places where we do see bees, and I think probably in 95% of the situations, it's beneficial to have them here because they're not typically swarming and attacking people.
I thought in this case they were really close to the property line.
Yeah, they were. And I think probably with that gentleman running his lawnmower close by, it might have just set
Yeah,
them off.
the lawnmower definitely agitated them. But I think, people have a right to mow their own lawn.
On their own
And-
property.
and
It's
not-
not having to go to the hospital.
Right, exactly, right.
So I think we're at a point, the property is, like I say, it looks much better. I think if we want to, have a discussion with that property owner, or if the board would like Chris and I to come up with something to either eliminate them in certain zoning districts or to, kind of guesstimate what we feel is a safe setback.
Yeah, I have to do some research, and I think maybe we want to talk to somebody who has practical experience and not a beekeeper. I don't know. We can probably find some people to talk to about what would be an appropriate setback.
Yeah, maybe other townships.
We do work in a lot of places, and this is the first bee complaint I've had.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I more view this as a one-off. Yeah. Because I don't know if we've ever had this problem.
You think like the county or the
The
conservancy might have some?
extension.
Extension might be the good resource. Because again, it is sort of an agricultural activity, so the extension might have some recommended guidelines. Anyway,
And I don't
we can
want
research
us jumping off the deep end
Right.
because we had one.
But man, getting stung by
Well,
25 bees, that's,
I can't imagine.
I got stung by 2 this weekend and my toes still swollen up.
Yeah.
How do you get stung by
Well, why don't
25?
you work with the property owner in this instance?
Okay.
see if he can.
Well, you know,
limit
I think doing the research on what would be an appropriate setback, even if the township does not choose to do a new regulation, would be
Something.
information to
I
use
can
as the
find that
basis. Okay.
My son has a very good beekeeper that works for him. And he could give you some insight on it.
Because if we have a resource that has some guideline, that would give Jeff something to talk about with this property owner, and maybe he would,
Move those couple
Persuaded,
that are,
right.
yeah, that are in
if we had
violation.
information that would be persuasive, maybe he'll work with us and maybe we don't do any regulation at all.
I'll find it.
Sounds like
What a good distance is.
Couple other things, last Thursday, Scott and I were at 608 Crisscross, the Northeast Products, talking to them. They're not going to go through with the expansion at this time that they talked about. I believe they bought another facility in the borough, so they've moved some of their manufacturing to that location. But we did drive around the property and it's really been cleaned up. There's just absolutely just finished products sitting outside. They're still very busy, but they were able to eliminate a lot of the product and materials that they had that were outside that were causing some problems, to get that off the property. So we were very glad to see that. So they are talking about a little bit of reconfiguration of space inside the building, but that's not something that we have to worry about zoning, lot coverage or anything for.
Have you had any complaints lately?
No, it's been quite a while since,
And what about the noise and all that?
knock on wood, I'm not hearing anything right now.
Did they move the fan or anything? Did they change anything?
That's still at the same spot. That was gonna happen if they
So,
moved the building because they said the wall that would take it furthest away, they just couldn't get it through.
Renovation.
Or circulate the way they wanted it to if they put it over there. They
I'm
said-
sure if the noise would have gone, I would have gotten a phone call, and I haven't gotten a phone call or an email or anything.
They said they have been in direct contact with the neighbors
Yeah,
in response to some complaints, but nothing that's escalated. to us.
Yeah.
And they've really, I think, made a good effort to try and get the property cleaned up and more in compliance with their land development plan that they did, and also respecting the neighbors. So I was encouraged to see that last week when we were there.
Jen, not to put you on the spot, but do you know, did they record their plan? Do you remember seeing all that come through? I meant to ask you that after we had our meeting out there.
I don't think they did, to be honest with you.
Because that was one of their
100% sure.
questions, was they didn't want to, they wanted to go through their steps so they didn't lose the work they put into that plan, but financially they weren't moving forward, but up top of the office, I didn't know if you know it off
Yeah.
the top of your head, but that was one of the questions, so.
And then just another FYI kind of thing. The solar project for the
Sewer plant?
sewer plant, we just received a set of updated revised plans, I think it was Friday afternoon. So we'll hopefully get that permit out shortly. There was just some information that we needed that was not in the plans that we had, so that one should start, and just had a conversation with somebody else in that same vicinity that would like to put, it's 3.5 megawatts of solar in. I think you can probably imagine in that area what that might be. So we may have another one coming in. This will be a little bit more challenging because I think, I know it involves 2 municipalities. So most of the panels would be located in Maiden Creek Township. The service, the electrical portion of it will all be located in Richmond. So that'll make the project a little more interesting. I got a preliminary plan of it today, which I can show you. but we'll have to figure out how that's gonna get handled.
That's all subject to change though here. Subsidies are changing.
Yep.
Pretty drastically, pretty quick, so we'll see what happens.
Just thought I'd give you an update on
Yep.
it.
But what about
Go ahead.
parking on 222, tractor trailer parking?
Now, I don't have anything on that. I know you had directed Robbie and Scott and myself to look into that. I did not do anything with that the last month.
It was just under your thing, we can do that next month.
Yep.
SEO report for August, is that it?
Yeah, that's,
SEO report for August 2025. I don't think there's any questions there. Any questions on this? Okay. Make a motion to accept the report. Let's make a motion to accept the report. I make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Police reports, you must have got a call.
We lost her.
I should have got in sooner. And I did want to announce, we did have an executive session at 5:30 to discuss some litigation. Just wanted to make that announcement.
right.
Oh, go ahead.
So Jen had somebody here in the office last week talking about 11 Farmers Drive, wanting to use it as an area to park trucks. And I did speak with the gentleman and told him, please do not do anything until we meet. I can give you some guidelines. I'm driving in tonight, I see there's a couple trucks parked there already. So this is gonna be an issue that, stay tuned, but they're desperate to find some use for that property. And I get it. I'm sure the property owner would like to lease it, but we're getting people with ideas that are kind of low budget operations and trying to do stuff under the radar a little bit, which is a little problematic. So I'll be on top of that one. I'm gonna have to have a conversation with them tomorrow about that.
Is this where the storage business was supposed to go and dropped
Yes.
out? Okay.
So, but you just can't pave or put millings down in an open field and start parking tractor trailers there. When I talked to him, he said it could be up to 20 of them on a weekend. So I didn't even get the opportunity to look to see if there's anything close to it in the ordinance. I know when the last thing that we dealt with over there was butchers, when they went in, and that was a permitted use there with the truck terminal. And that's worked out very well there, but, you know, to just have tractor trailers parking willy-nilly in a field is not the best use of the property. So,
They're talking about truck parking club. You can go online, because I use it. And you can say, hey, I have a truck, I want to park here. You send them the money, they give you a spot. I mean, it's whoever. You know, I don't know. I mean, that's commercial zone.
it is.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm just saying
It's a C2.
that's the tool that they're using
Okay.
online.
Well, is there anything where I could go to research something like
Truck,
that?
I mean, it's just a business that connects property owners with truck drivers,
Okay.
truck parking club. You just go on the internet,
Club.
yeah, you can go on the internet, and I come into the area, I look what's the closest place. They have an aerial view of this property outlined with where you can park. You just pay online, you never talk to the property owner, then you go there and park.
Okay.
So it's like connecting truck parking for trucks. I'm not saying it's valid, I'm just saying
Right.
that's the method they're using. Or the truck parking club.
Yeah.
Nationwide.
Well, the guy that was over there said that him, two other guys, I think, just signed on leases. So I don't know how long the leases are for. but-
Well, you can do, you can sign up weekly, monthly, yearly, and, but he has to be able to be, zoned for that or.
Correct. You know, it's kind of been a common theme here tonight is You know, we've got different uses that people are trying to do, and sometimes we get focused on the way it's always been. And maybe we have to start looking outside of the box a little bit as different uses become popular. And not that it necessarily means we want to do that, but I guess we need to be a little flexible.
So now it's not listed on here right now.
Okay,
So it's not, because it would be right at the Silver Springs and put a map up.
all right.
So on this app, and that's what he said, truck parking. lot.
Yes, yep.
So it's
And all I
not,
did was Google the 11 Farmers Drive and that came up right
see,
away.
there's nothing, so he must have took it down. But you can get on here
Oh, it was on
Yeah. As soon as he came in, I asked him, he says, yeah, just Google it. So I did and it came right up.
so that's a nationwide, they have thousands of places. Pretty handy for a trucking company, because you can never find parking. It costs like $20 a night, which is cheap for me to park somewhere that I don't get towed.
Sure.
But it has to be a legit business. I mean, most times it's at a trucking terminal. You know, they'll have like butchers, maybe they have 4 spaces available. They'll just outline it on the map and you just park it there.
Okay.
It's becoming pretty popular.
I don't know what this lot looks like. Does it have impervious surface already?
No, so that was, and I was just gonna, because
It's usually high grass and weeds.
Right, because if it works for zoning, you still have land development issues, and stormwater management and driveway access would be the first 2 things I'd worry about.
Yeah, they're backing right in off of the Farmer's Drive.
And that last plan did have the area, a defined driveway. It was paved because it was a commercial property. That's just the way the ordinance reads, is that area is supposed to be paved for that access. And not having it in front of me, I don't know if it was paved or just some kind of impervious surface, but which led into them updating that basin. It was pretty minimal because they have quite a bit of space there,
Yeah.
but they had to just do some modifications to bring it up to current standards. So, yeah, there were a couple items there. But
So even if it's allowed, which I imagine it is, it just have to meet the land development.
Right, there's other.
it's just a use.
Yeah. All right, we'll skip the police report, Rich comes back. Virginville Fire Company report.
Mark said he sent the report in, was not able to make it tonight. We did complete a joint training yesterday with Richmond Town, very successful. They brought multiple trucks and members up. We had multiple stations, practicals, ladders, hose line, advancement, live fire, so did quite a bit. It was really successful. The only thing he asked me to bring up was last month we had asked about the mailers, on if we were allowed to do that to the residents.
Yeah.
If there was any clarification with the fire tax.
Where do we leave it? I don't remember, he did ask for permission to send mailers, because but we never had, there was not an ordinance like that, it was just like an agreement, like, hey, we need a fire tax. We couldn't find anything, is that correct?
There is no condition that was established when the fire tax went into effect, to the best of my knowledge. I didn't think that the township actually restricted the fire company's ability to do those activities. Even
Yeah, that was
though
the gray area. We didn't know if there was some language put in there.
Yeah, but you didn't do
The
anything, I
fire tax.
think it was probably gentlemen's, with the township and the fire company, but I don't know that I have a problem with it, I don't, because I mean, the benefit is getting your message out too. So we have to, what do we do with them? Just do the,
Well, I mean, if they feel they need some guidance, I would recommend that you give them some direction. I mean, the fire tax is not carved in stone. Fire tax is a year-to-year choice that the board makes at budget time, whether or not you're going to continue to have a fire tax. So there's no guarantee next year there'll be a fire tax. So that means the fire company has to basically make the board of supervisors feel good about what the fire company's doing. So if you want to tell them how to do fundraising, I think you have every right to do that, because you can always choose not to renew the fire tax next year. And that doesn't take an ordinance, that's just a resolution setting your tax rates.
I'm okay with the mailer. So we're okay with the mailer.
Okay, so just mailing to advise what's going on.
Well, no, I mean, if it's fundraiser, I mean, there was some, I thought there was some, the report that we got the state, that was one of the recommendations, right? To allow the fire company, so just like with everything that the state does for us, and I think if we don't take some of these recommendations, I mean, it's in our best interest, if this is best practices, I want to try and do best practices. I don't want to tie your hands. I'm sure there's more recommendations coming down the line that it's going to make it better for everybody. So we're okay with the mailers, with the fundraising mailers, with what in the spirit of that recommendation at the report.
So essentially, just to clarify, we are okay to send out mailers to advise of upcoming events, to ask for fundraising things. We just can't like base it off of that. Like we need to be open up front with the township residents that, hey, we do get this, but if you would like to help
Perfect.
over and above.
That'd be great.
Okay.
That'd
Just
be
wanted to
great.
clarify.
Yeah, listen, I think that's good guidance. You know, hey, there's a fire tax, but if you feel like you want to donate above and beyond, that's terrific. We're always looking for, it's challenging keeping up the equipment. You tell them what the equipment costs. I don't even think the general public knows what the stuff costs.
No.
And then get your message out. Hey, we need volunteers. We try and train. We try and do this. It costs money. We have 1%. It doesn't cover all our costs. I mean, that would be my guidance. You know what I mean?
That sounds good.
I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know how successful it'll be, but that's why we did the
Thank
1%
you. I know-
because it wasn't very successful in the
And
past.
I don't know how long the fire tax has been. I've been in it for
was it-
quite a while, but
It was before my time. I think we looked it up. I think 2006, 2008-ish.
okay. So I mean, a little bit about the time when I started as a full-time member there, but I remember doing other mailers and stuff for fundraisers that hasn't happened anymore, and I don't know if that was stopped about the same time.
Yeah, I think that was a request. They were going to do this, but don't be banging on the doors. But
Yeah.
I think that also restricts your ability to get your message out.
Yeah.
Right. And if you get your message out, just get some donations to cover the message. Would be helpful for the fire companies. I mean, that's a recommendation from this report. I'm going to support some of these. I mean, that's what they do it for. I mean, they spend some time and they give us recommendations. I think we got to try and follow them.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Jim. I'm Jim Jr. My
Jim. Okay, I know your
my
dad.
dad's assistant chief. I'm one of the lieutenants.
Yeah, Jim Jr. Okay. I knew I recognized it. Just want to.
Yep.
Okay. All the town fire company.
We got no reports from them. They usually bring them at the time of the meeting.
Fire tax. I think update on fire tax or update on the
There was a discussion last meeting just about sending out the flyers, which you
Oh,
just asked about, so.
Perfect. Okay. Next letter of intent to the DCED. We talked about it, and here's the letter of intent. We approved this to be sent? Did they send it?
This is the one that Chris had sent over. The borough is approving it tonight. And this, I just wanted us to have this in the packet and you can sign it. So if you want to approve it again.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second.
All in favor? It's just for them to continue to do more
Yep.
studies. Lifeline Compton ambulance reports.
Lifeline did not send one over today.
So those are the dispatch calls through the year. I was like, ooh, that's a lot. It's, I was gonna say, so if it's through the year. All right, Comcast franchise agreement.
We put together a comparison that wasn't just specific to you, it was relating to a couple of these that we're looking at right now. Bottom line would be that there are several provisions here that we feel could be improved based on other franchise agreements that we have, particularly the one with Service Electric, is our point of comparison. And I didn't pull up your specific Service Electric existing contract, but it probably has in it what I call a most favored nation clause, which means that you agree that if you give somebody else a better deal, that you have to offer that better deal to Service Electric, who has the pre-existing agreement. So that's a real good reason to make sure that the Comcast agreement is is either the same as or more restrictive than the Service Electric one. Or if you give some leniency to Comcast, you're gonna have to go back and give that to Service Electric as well. So I guess just the big picture on this is I would recommend that you authorize us to get back to Comcast and ask for the adjustments that would bring this at least up to the standard of the Service Electric contract.
I'll make that.
I agree. Also.
All in favor?
All right, so that's how we'll proceed. We'll see what reaction we get from Comcast.
This is the first time they're asking for a franchise agreement that I've been here, is that correct?
Yeah, to my knowledge, they're not serving in the township at this time. And just to, clarify this, franchise agreement is required where a company provides cable television services. If a company provides only internet service, they don't have to provide a franchise agreement. There's a federal communications law that says that if you provide cable television, you must have a franchise agreement with the municipality. There are some internet providers who don't provide cable television. You also don't get the franchise fees on the internet services that are provided by Service Electric, and you won't get franchise fees on the internet services provided by Comcast. You're only going to get franchise fees on cable television services sold by Comcast. So what we're seeing generally is that the number of is shrinking, but the rates that they're charging for cable television keep going up. So the revenue that I expected would be diminishing by now actually hasn't diminished because the companies that are still providing cable television services are squeezing their remaining customers harder all the time. I think eventually these franchise fees are likely to go away. I think eventually the cable television is going to evaporate, but we're not there yet. So in the meantime, the opportunity to get this franchise agreement. Yeah, take what you can.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll work on a response to Comcast.
Discussion and donation for the Fleetwood Range for holding the fire study there. Fleetwood paid some of the fees, an interpreter fee and different things, and I said we would offer the Fleetwood Range a donation. I talked to Kenny. Kenny said it's up to us. They don't really charge. But if we want to make a donation, and I'd just like to propose we donate $200 for the use of the ring.
For
Yeah, I think that's. You think unless you have a different amount, just for the one note, I think that's fair.
You're still thinking of something.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to,
I'll second it. All in favor? Okay, the continuing discussion on banning brake retarders in the township.
We had provided an email to Jen, I don't know if you shared that with the
Yes.
supervisors, but the bottom line is, you can't restrict brake retarders without PennDOT's permission. In order to get that permission, you have to do a traffic study or engineering study and submit a form to PennDOT that shows that the locations where you're proposing the brake retarder restriction comply with the standards that PennDOT has. Some of those are what type of road it is, some are about the grade of the road. So if you want to proceed with this, I think the best way to do it would be to identify what your priority roads are for this restriction and then authorize the engineer, either Craft or if Craft would prefer that a traffic engineering firm do it, I don't know, it's up to Craft, but I think that would be the starting point, is to see if the roads that are priorities for you actually could meet the PennDOT standards before you go to trouble of submitting a request to PennDOT.
You don't think that could be a township-wide ordinance?
If every road met the standards, and I know
It's
it
not
won't,
gonna happen.
it won't happen. You got a lot of steep sloped roads and they're not gonna meet the standards.
I've seen signage that says in the borough. I just saw one this week, and I can't remember where it was. But they're getting Lancaster County, that's pretty popular. There's a lot of places that say in the township or in the borough. Now, did they just put signage up?
Well, I can't tell you those are lawful regulations.
So I think maybe an avenue is something like that, but just be respectful to the neighbors. Please do not use loud Jake Road brakes in Richmond Township. I mean, it's not everybody. It's not, Estes is here, our trucks, you wouldn't even hear the Jakes.
Yeah.
It's the straight pipe,
And those aren't the problem.
those aren't the problem.
The straight pipes are,
It's the guys that like to hear the noise,
they wake.
sit on the floor.
Yeah.
I can pick them out from here, but
It just sounds like we'd be going down a rabbit hole, thing like that.
Right.
With the state, I don't see that getting anywhere.
and then enforcement.
Well, I had one township go through that process on a flat state highway that went through a densely populated residential area. And it did improve the quality of life for the residents to get that process completed. We got PennDOT approval to prohibit the brake retarders on the stretch of highway. But it was a flat piece of state highway through a dense residential area. I think PennDOT understood that that was an appropriate place to prohibit Jake brakes. Anyway, it can be done to get PennDOT approval.
I think we did it, Chris.
So actually, I looked into this because we had talked, this went back a little bit about looking at the area right where the bypass begins, basically. And ironically, it was kind of towards the end of summer here when we had an intern in the office that had looking into things. We had that study prepared, and I can forward it to you. We kind of stopped at a point there simply because there was two things we needed to get done, and we can still complete that and finish that and submit it if you want, but it was the grade of the road. So that was the question: as you're coming off of the bypass and it starts taking that turn and you're already into that 55 mile per hour area, does that meet? I think it's 5% or less is what they're requiring.
Well, it's less than 5%.
Yeah, it's basically.
I think it looks that way.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other was trying to get volumes that they have in that area to just supplement the study. We have that, I can circulate it to you so you can see it, but, and if you want.
There's that, and then there's a couple of places on the Fleetwood Lines Highway that have become problems that I hear about.
Is it flat there?
Yes, both places. But one's in the park, so you're coming to the light there, friends, is all, I hear about that all the time, but that's not our concern, I guess.
I mean, I could circulate that to you so you see the study, see what it
Yeah, send it to
includes, and if you want to add in those two items and submit it to them and see what comes back with it. Yeah, I can do that.
And what about Fleetwood Lines Road?
Same thing.
It usually comes down to that grade is kind of the make or break it part of it.
And I
And
get
the densely populated, I think.
yeah, but fortunately, we don't have a lot of densely populated areas along highways. But, send that to.
Yeah.
I hear that.
And we did have a complaint on Churchill, but that's definitely 515.
Yeah.
That's Jake Brake heavy, that's probably. All right, we're good with that? Yep. Okay, candidates for planning commission opening. We have two candidates, Justin Kammer, and we kind of offer two. for.
Maybe I'll get myself taken care of first.
So,
Do we have an alternate?
do we have an alternate?
You don't have planning commission.
No,
We don't have.
because they're so big. Somebody's always.
No, and I mean, the code doesn't require it.
All right. So I think, I appreciate McKenna's willing to serve, but I think I would, Justin, I think offer first, my understanding. So I would say that we go with Justin, would be my suggestion. I would nominate him, go with that. You guys have a second? I make a motion to appoint Justin to the board. Okay, all in favor? Aye. But thanks, McKenna. Can we just keep you on the list for
That's fine.
an opportunity that comes up?
Yeah.
Okay. Willow Crest.
So I can't say it's a huge amount of progress, but they did do the work for the electrical on the lighting.
Are the
So,
lights on?
what's that?
Are the lights on?
No, they need to get their inspection and then First Energy can come in and do their inspection. So the inspection is, they finally call our office when they're done and do that. Just trying to get an update from them today, just to say, or did you call in or not? But that's the step. So the work's almost done there. I think part of it was they had other items when Robbie and I had driven around and looked at different things. We gave them that list. They wanted to do that while they're in there. So hopefully that's part of what they're doing while they're there. Either or, those are minor. Once the lights are on, we have the descriptions for the deed of dedication. I think we were going to discuss having the roads dedicated once the lights were on, because the rest of it is, it's been sitting there waiting, so. But
So they have a
unfortunately,
private inspection agency coming in?
no. Kraft comes in when they finally call it in. So they will look at it simply to just make sure that, I think it's like a disconnect switch that they put on is in properly. And then Metin can come in and clear it. Then we will, but it's,
Do we have a timeline of that?
at the beginning of the last
Is it dark
meeting,
at night now?
the beginning of last meeting is when they were in to start. And they should have been done in 3 weeks here, so,
You'll follow up and see if they're done, and we can inspect.
yeah. Yeah,
And then what's the timeline for Meta? Is that another 6 months?
I don't.
I will say, and this is just they're saying, they've been following up on that final inspection better in the past 2 months than they have in a very long time, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I think maybe we can ask them as well, saying this is the final straw.
So they have to look at it before they get energized.
Yes. Yeah. They're kind of like the last clear there, once they file.
And how-
The cut card. The cutting card is the last step.
Cut card.
But, yeah, I thought they would be done by now and have that, but I double checked on our end. They hadn't had that inspection scheduled yet, but that
Is
just.
that metered at some point then?
I didn't think they were.
Was the time they were doing it just by the instrument? But I think they went back to meters.
Did that?
I'm not sure. Well,
Yeah.
Keep working on it.
Yeah, so then the other one is the solar farm. They, I tried to get out there just to see if I could visually check and see if they put that rack on right before the last meeting. They said, yeah, we're working on it. I don't understand that either, because it's simply a weir that they're putting on, basically, just to control it. But again, we're holding the money on that project, waiting for them to do this. And that's kind of the final straw as far as we have. They finished if you saw it, they finished the paving on Weaver. They did when they did that work, the pipe that crosses the road it wasn't good underneath. I think the pipe that failed had water seeping in there, and Robbie had seen it, but they took some extra bucket loads of material out of there. The cost was a little more. We're talking with them right now to see on that end of it before the township pays that invoice, but relatively, I mean, what they had to fix, they did that on Weaver's Road. The site walkthrough, there's minor items, they've really cleaned up
They've
everything.
been keeping it up to the grass. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know if we've heard any complaints coming through, but
It's been quiet.
been a little easier this past month or two to try to keep up on that.
To really get that restricted plate in there, though.
Yes, we can see if it
From the next hurricane shows up.
even this 2 inches of rain, we're
Because of this last heavy rain.
Yeah, it's a problem. I'm sure they had some flow there on this one, but it was pretty dry for pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, I keep asking for an update every 2 weeks saying, where you at, what are you doing, working on? I don't understand it. It was really, I will say that the engineer responded within a week, having a meeting saying, what are you looking for, what do you need? And we told them, and they said, all right. But it just seems like we heels still and drag.
Like a second little thing.
I don't know what the holdup is there.
I think there's a guy at the end of the township that could probably make that pretty quick.
Yeah,
Send me a drawing,
Very
I'll have it
cheap.
for you tomorrow.
yeah,
Do you have somebody?
Oh, yeah.
that can-
in a heartbeat. A lot of people in this township, yeah.
Yeah, if I could just give me a CAD drawing.
Okay.
There's something I can forward to them. Give me a drawing.
Send it.
It's not a big deal.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's all I have on that one. The street work, that is completed. There is the letter there, if you have a copy of the letter.
Yep.
I think, and Robbie can talk to this better than I can, I think the roads look good. There were 2 roadways that while they were doing the patchwork, it was mostly patching, Ruth Road and Mine Road. There were additional patches that in the end, the contract was, as you can see it in the bold, we have a change order for the balancing of quantities, but it was $16,633.77 more. And talking to Robbie, that wasn't just made in haste. He had said that in his account, there was quite a bit of money not used that could more than cover that. And it seemed to make sense to be able to get those patches while they were there to complete that and add the extras on. So the total project was that amount I said, more than the award, but came to $320,595.83. We recommend supervisors authorize that to H&K group unless there's questions concerning that.
Robbie, you're all good with that then?
Yeah, everything looks good.
They do a good job.
Really, from what I saw.
Yeah, when I saw it too. Make a motion that we pay it.
I'll say.
All in favor?
I just wanted to ask real quick, I know that they were working on the disconnects and such, so they have not energized any lights. We are going to be getting into the months where I have to start putting a tax levy on properties. Are we going to wait and see what these lights are going to be charged? How much we're gonna be charged for this, or do we wanna start putting a tax levy on this? Or do we wanna wait till next year?
But we gotta put the lid,
And
the
we
lights
don't-
are gonna go in before the end of the year. The tax will start the first of the year.
Yeah,
Don't we
but
have,
we have no idea.
Right. We don't know how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah, we don't.
but don't we have a standard tax rate for the footage for, because we currently do.
We do.
Do we have to have that standard throughout the township? We can't charge Walnut, I'm just asking, we can't charge Walnut 70 cents a foot and then Willow Creek $1.50.
You have different districts if you have different costs.
Okay.
Yeah, the cost, I'm sure, will be different here because this is, we're gonna be much more efficient LED lighting than discharge lamps, so. But we don't, that's why I was wondering, is it metered, are they going by Houston?
Right.
We don't know anything.
We have to wait till we start getting billed for that before
That's
we
right.
can do anything. I mean, we can,
But we have to prepare, I think. We have to prepare for.
once we see, if we don't have figures, if we don't have any decisions by the end of the year when the levy has
That's
to
why I'm
actually
trying
be
to
done.
accelerate this process a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's.
But that's something that I have to enter into the computer system myself to do that, so,
So when do you need to know by?
before the end of the years. I would say probably,
Till next month?
I would say November at the latest.
Try and have a number till then?
Yeah.
Can I
And do we
add
know
that?
how many sidewalk foot it is over there? Well, it goes by the property. So each property, probably the township pays for the road in there, but it's dedicated to us. And then every sidewalk goes by this
I'm trying to.
linear foot of sidewalk.
I think the total linear foot of road was just over, I think that was just over a mile.
We'll have to revisit that
Okay.
next month.
So
Make sure you put it on for next month.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew the questions were coming or not, but I did get an email between end of day work and this meeting from the solar farm. And the restrictor plate for the basin is a test plate scheduled for Wednesday they're gonna put on. So I actually have that up this week. They have a drawing, they went with a test plate just to make sure that it's gonna work the way they want. And I think they're gonna make it a thicker gauge if that's what they end up going with. They had some concerns from the conservation district about drainage of which way the water was coming off of Weaver Road and going into the certain basins. They took care of that. I think it's very inconsequential for the township's concerns on that. We are gonna be walking Merge Road with them and discussing that to see what direction that goes. We had a permit that we required of them because they basically accessed the entire shoulder of the roadway when it was calling for one driveway. Unfortunately, we don't have any, before they were there, pictures, not knowing that that was gonna be what occurred. But we are gonna walk it with them, and I provided them with all the documentation we have, because it was pretty tough in
Yeah,
trying
if
to
you
get
didn't run
compliance.
over with a camera car, you know, that would show it. But it is correct.
I think we meet with them out there and put them on the spot and ask them what their opinion is, but, and then they're having issues with the two larger basins. The one basin, there's an area that just seems to have lost vegetation. They can't get it to grow back to the same length that, or the way it was growing previously. I'm sorry, that's the infiltration basin. They had it growing perfect. They redid it just to make sure it was infiltrated a little better, and then the grass just won't grow back in the spot. The conservation district's holding their feet to the fire saying you have to, so. But that's the update, so they will have that restrictor plate on by Wednesday.
Perfect. All right, is that it for you, Scott?
Yeah.
Officer Orr, sorry to make you wait, we should have
No,
got you
you're
next sooner,
fine.
but I know you're busy.
You're good, no
Why don't
problem.
you just go over the report for us?
All right, so for August, total incidents responded to were 150, 26 crash investigations, 103 traffic citations were issued, 2 criminal arrests, 69 traffic stops were done, 12 hours of follow-up time for criminal investigations, 9 hours of court time. Under significant activities, Chief just has listed that we handled reports for several thefts, a burglary, several frauds, disorderly conducts, criminal trespass, and an ordinance violation. And under equipment, training and transition to the new firearms is set for mid-September.
All right. Any questions? No?
Good? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. Delinquent sewer report.
The only thing on this report that I wanted to talk to you about is 14 Chapel Drive.
Yep.
On that one, we're recommending that the township post the notice of the obligation of the property owner to pay. I don't know if that happened yet.
It did not, I was waiting to hear if, I just heard on Friday that Kraft posted the notice of violation on the property for the grass in the back of the property. I just wanted to make sure something was being done with that, so we have to post that for that.
Okay, so we should post the letter regarding the sewer obligation. We haven't been able to get mailed service because letters are coming back, so, and the post office box has been closed. But if we post the property, that will enable us to file liens, and we ought to update our liens for any unliened overdue charges in case this property goes to foreclosure, which it likely will.
Is it occupied?
Not to my knowledge. Who went out from Kraft, did they see any of that?
I drove past, it was last week one day, it doesn't look like there's any activity there.
From what I understand, he moved out, and from what the postmaster told me, that the post office box is closed, and they believe he's living out in Fleetwood, but they can't give me any other information on that, so.
Anyway, so best of our knowledge, property is essentially abandoned. That could change at any time. So I would ask for authorization from the board for the posting of property for the sewer.
I'll make that motion. All in favor?
All right, thank you. And then the other thing is, we had a discussion about old liens because there was a recent situation that came up where a property was sold and the property owner may not have been aware that there were old liens, at least seemed to be surprised. So we went back and take a look at all of the old liens, and I frankly was surprised that some of these old connection fees were not paid off. I thought we had chased these down, but apparently not, because these liens are still out there. And this is really the ones from 07, 08, 09. I guess those are Walnut Town. And then there's some little bit newer ones that are related to, I would guess, I don't know if some of those look like Walnut Town also. So, and I don't think those are connection fees. I think those are just user fees. I think everything that was a connection charge is probably the 07, 08. Everything after that is probably sewer user fees. In any event, I'm not sure how you want to approach these. I think most of these are probably relatively current. I don't know if you compare these.
If I'm not mistaken, Kraus and Sykes are both paid off. Michelle, I believe, removed the liens on those just the other day.
Okay,
So those two have been satisfied.
so Kraus and Sykes.
Yes.
Okay. But we haven't been chasing these older ones, and I guess the question is, do you want to, or do you want to wait and see when the property is transferred ownership and we get calls from title companies, they'll get cleaned up at that time?
Will they show up with us?
Yes, these are liens of record on the property address. So they can't get title insurance without addressing these. People do transfer property sometimes without title insurance if they are doing a cash deal, which can happen. But the property is still subject to the lien. It transfers to the new owner. Or it's a lien on the property. It's not a personal responsibility of the individual.
How do we know that they're still valid? They must be, because they're included in the lien. And the first one is shocking to me.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that.
I mean, why would, that's just, I don't get that, spend money to lien that.
Well,
The rest I remember.
Well, these predate me, I only got here in 2010, I guess. So the stuff from 7, 8, and 9. Can't
I
tell
mean,
you.
does it make sense to say, hey, there's still lien on your property? Send them a letter, there's still lien on your property. This is to make the amount.
It's quite good. It's almost 60 grand.
It's the face amount, it's not what's actually owed. If, because we have the right to collect interest on this. This is just the face of
Just
You know how I approach it.
Huh?
And son-in-law, did you know that you have this lien against your property for X amount of dollars?
and the tab just keeps running.
Encourage them to give them some sort of encouragement to pay it
Or dispute it.
or dispute it, or if you think there's a reason why you don't know this, let us know. But kind of word the letter that we would encourage them to pay that before we go after the interest. Give them like a clemency kind of thing where if they paid it, it's money we don't have.
Well, you know, I believe that if you go back and look at the time period, I don't know when it was, when we did all those
Clemencies.
clemency things, that was sometime after I got here. And the township forgave penalties. I don't know if we forgave interest, I don't recall. But we did offer people considerable discounts. And I'm assuming all these people got the right
Were
letters.
these people
Yes.
involved with that?
They all received the offer, but those who are on this list presumably did not take that offer. You know, anybody who showed up here and called the office, we would work with them, try to set up payment plans. And, you know, at one point it was, you know, probably 50 people that we were trying to get money from.
They just let that go. Previously.
This one, the second one has two docket numbers, the same number. Do you think that's the same place?
I'm guessing it was two connections. I mean, that would have typically been two connections that they leaned.
But it's the same docket number.
Yeah. Oh.
12970, 12970.
Oh, I can't explain that.
It's a typo. Because they don't have
I'd
the address
have
for
to-
the first one. I'm just wondering if that's the same.
I'd have to ask Cynthia for that.
They also say do it, or something like that, just a bit.
You know, hypothetically, the pathology messed up. I can't explain it. You know, I mean, I'm guessing that the township dumped a whole pile of liens at one time on the voluntary, and maybe they misnumbered one of them.
But you have stuff going back. In 07, you add 1% to this. We have a lot of money. It's going to be increasingly more difficult to get paid, I would think.
Yeah, but the one that we just collected, we got the whole thing.
Yes,
And that was a sale transaction, and
That's the only way.
that was the settlement company that stated, hey, we're trying to close this
That was
out.
over
or
Eli,
something.
right,
Yeah.
over there.
all right, so if my understanding is correct, township is looking for a letter to go out. Do we send it to all of them, or just the oldest ones first, and see what kind of reaction we get, so we're not?
I would send up through 11, right? Or would you send them all?
That's simple.
It's a bonus, it's good to remind.
Okay. Do them all.
And I make it a nicely worded letter.
Say, hey, your house is lien.
Did you-
This plus interest. Are you aware? Are you addressing it? Or are you just waiting?
Do you have a plan?
Do you have a plan?
I mean, we could attach a copy or close a copy of the lien. And do you want Jen to send these? You want us to do it? Do you want us to help Jen do it?
I think, okay.
Yeah, I would say help there.
What do you think, Jen?
That's fine.
If you just give us,
A form letter?
give us a form letter, we just fill in the amounts.
Okay, we'll do that.
And just say, this is the face amount when the lien was put on, but since it's been accruing interest and penalties, you have a plan, are you
No,
aware?
it's not going to go down.
Huh?
It is not going down.
The amount is not going down. You have a plan to pay this. that it, Chris?
That's all I have.
Robbie? Monthly road report, do we have any questions? So you guys were busy?
Yeah.
And then the crew cab. Do you want to advertise that? The municipal.
Yeah, the new truck's all set up and ready to go. We have the crew cab, the old one all cleaned out. I did some research and they're selling anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 on municipal. I'm not really sure what you guys are looking to get out of it. That truck has been here since 2010, brand new. And it has some rust in the bed, but other than that, it works pretty good.
We'll advertise it under the reserve.
Well, that's why I wondered if you wanted to set a reserve for it or just accept what we get for it.
I don't think 15's out of line. I don't know what they're worth. You researched it.
Yeah, I could only find in the past year only a
Is the
handful.
truck sound?
What's that?
Is the truck sound?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's a couple holes in the bed. It has a utility bed, it's a steel bed. There's a couple.
Mechanically, it's okay.
I would say so far, it has a check engine light on, it has something to do with the glow plug. But that's been on for a year. And we haven't had any problems with that, but we also keep it parked inside. It doesn't go below 60 degrees in the wintertime in the shop, so we haven't had that issue in the wintertime.
Because they're gonna sell the plow with it.
Yeah, we have the V-plow was bought with that truck, but it's almost too small for the truck because when it feeds, it's not wider than the duals. So we really don't use it that much. It's kind of useless sometimes.
So is that what you would sell with the truck?
Yeah, that plow would go with the truck. That came with the truck when it was bought.
Yeah, plow would think's worth 15.
We could almost.
So I mean, we can always put it on municipals, have a little bit of a higher reserve. And if it doesn't sell, we put it on again. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost us anything to put it on.
Perfect.
So if you guys come up with a number, I'll put the ad out, we'll leave it run for 2 weeks or so, and then next meeting, we'll see what we get.
What do you think?
Started at 15.
Yeah.
See
They
what
have
happens.
jump, they have jump with the plow for, I mean, there's,
Yeah.
this time of year. You know what you paid for the new one, so it's a
Right.
lot.
The reserve for 15.
I'll go with that. You go with that?
So see what happens.
Sounds good, Robbie.
That's all I have for that stuff. We skipped over the sewer stuff, but I wanted to add something with that I feel like there should be a little more communication with the sewer people and myself and Jen. I feel like we get left out on a lot of things.
Example, be specific.
The power at the sewer plant. You obviously got a hold of me, went up. There was 3/4 of a tank of fuel.
And he said there was 25 gallons of it.
Right. So Jen sent out an email. Hey, how did you know you got an alert? No response. I reached out the following day, or maybe, I talked to you later that evening. I'll reach out to them on Tuesday. It was the holiday on Monday. I called twice, no response.
Whose number do you have?
I had Ken's.
And he didn't respond.
No. And, I don't care to go up there and do it, but, I'm calling the Dynatech people. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
He's talking about doing this, doing that, turning off power, and, obviously it's our sewer plant. You don't have an operating generator, and I'm trying to tell this guy, hey, yay or nay, and I can't get a hold of him. Okay?
Yeah. You have
I'm just asking for a little better communication. I have his cell number because he's called me before. He's
You have his
called me
cell number?
before, yeah.
I'll reach out to
It
him.
seems like over the past couple of years, the communication is just not there with that.
Okay, I'll try and address it with him.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know if Scott Steckbeck is a resource for you too. I don't know.
I'm
if you-
gonna,
Scott Wright.
Scott Rex from Stack.
He's good, but I wish I can use the pump station for another example. You know, we kind of started out working together on that, and I think in the one meeting, Sam said that we would pour the concrete pad for the generator and then do the blacktop around the pad, that's fine, we can do that. I got a call, hey, we need to go unlock the pump station, the guys are coming to take down the fence, they're gonna do the cement pad. And the problem is I don't know if you drive past it, they took the fence down, they moved it over 10 feet. The guys came, dug out and prepped the pad for the generator, but that's all they did. So there's, you know, a couple, I'm gonna say, you know, 2 tons of dirt that needs to come out. It's grass inside a fenced-in area. So, you know, a little bit of communication that, hey, you know, while these guys are prepping this pad, let's dig out the grass, dig out the dirt and stone it so we can blacktop it. So now we gotta go in there, work around the gas line, work around the generator, and work around the fence in an area that's already a quarter of the size of this room. I mean, we can do it, but we're gonna all have to do it by hand because there's no way to get even a mini in there. I mean, we could dig it and put it in a wheelbarrow, put it in the back of the truck, but it could have all been avoided.
So who is in charge of that project, Scott?
That was Scott Wright's. Yeah. And I know I know Sam brought it up at the one meeting, maybe that was
Yeah, we
last year
talked
when we
about
had the power problem. And it's just, it could just go a little bit better.
Yeah, especially on the holiday, he called you out, but they said, "Yeah, we only got 25 gallons and it's not gonna make it." I'm like,
Yeah.
and then you said there's 100 and some gallons in there, so
Well,
how can they not,
I put 100 gallons in.
but how could
Okay.
they not know? the
That's what I'm saying. So I want to, like, they not just want to come out and do it, and he just called and said, hey, you gotta
Well,
go
I
check
think
it?
he took,
Or do they actually have a thing that tells you the fuel?
I think he took Chris's. Chris must be the operator. I don't know Chris.
I don't know either.
I'll reach out to them both tomorrow. Okay?
Yep.
See, Robbie's gonna kick your ass.
Well, I don't care either way. I just asked for, you know.
Yeah, no,
hey,
I'll
this
reach
is what
out.
we're doing there.
I'll reach out, see if I can get it better, because they call me, I can't do nothing. They call me, then I gotta call you and relay the message.
Yeah.
I would have put fuel in though if that was, I stopped, that was as soon as I was done working, that, I was working on the holiday, I was gonna come down and
Right.
take care of it for you.
Well, I put 100 gallons in and the tank was absolutely full, and it says on the sticker that 298 gallons is max. So it had at least 120, 130 gallons in.
That would have been a long time.
That would have gone plenty, especially on the holiday.
Yeah. So.
And how would they not know that?
Yeah.
He told me there's only 25 gallons, so
Yeah,
that's why I'm like, well,
the other
25
thing-
gallons makes me nervous.
Yeah, so the other thing was like right now, the generator's off. It's not, if we were to lose power.
No, so it's, no, because I asked the same, I got the email from Scott, I'm gonna send that to you this afternoon. He said, well, Dynatech was out, they said some parts bad as a transfer switch.
Yep.
They ordered them, and then when I get a quote, I said, no, suppose the thing goes down and we don't have the generator. I mean, I'm a little concerned now, right? Because it's such an issue if we don't have backup power, right? Even over at that station all the time, it's like, oh my God, we gotta bring generator in, and now we don't have. So I emailed him that, and then he said, oh, I made a mistake. Dynatech was out, they fixed it. It's up and running, they're sending a bill for 900 some bucks. But they did that on Tuesday. I mean, Tuesday of last week, they fixed it. With no, I just don't know.
Well, I called Dynatech that Tuesday morning when you and I had talked, and then a technician was gonna go out there on his way home. And that's when he was asking me all sorts of questions. But he said he had to put the generator off because if it would start up, it would just constantly run.
Yeah.
It was just set in manual mode.
So there was definitely some, there's
I
definitely
don't mind getting the phone calls. I
some
just
lack of
wanna-
communication. I'm gonna send this to you, what he said today. He said they repaired it on 9/2. That was the day you called.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
The guy that I talked to Tuesday said that he needed to order parts.
yeah,
He determined that it was something in the transfer switch, and then
right.
he turned the generator off because there was power everywhere else.
Yeah, so like the power goes out and the generator's turned off. that defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I sent an email to you, I think it's fixed.
Alright.
You just sent it tonight after I questioned, like, they're getting a quote, but the generator shut off. I mean, we can't have that.
Right.
Okay, I'll work on that tomorrow, see if I can come up with a better plan. So Scott called, every time it happens, it's on a holiday or a Sunday,
It seems like it, yeah.
and then he calls me, then I gotta call you guys. I don't know why shit don't break down during the week.
Well, then I don't get overtime that way.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's all I really have. Oh, one other thing, if I could add, can I add to talk about that Mine Road stuff real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Mine Road was paved, everything looked good, there's no problems with it. We had a guy complain a couple of years ago, and Jeff and I dealt with him about, his complaint is the steel wheels on the road. Obviously, it's the religion thing, we discussed that. I told him that I would talk about it, bring it up to you guys, and he is adamant that something needs to happen. That,
Well, he should go to Harrisburg and went down this road.
yeah, so I have a feeling that, I don't know, he told me a couple of years ago he's gonna get the news involved, and I said, go ahead.
So, listen, I agree. I think steel wheels on brand new macadam is insane.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the religious aspect, but every hour of the night now, I have tractors running up and down the road here as transportation. I mean, it's pitch black dark, it's a garden tractor, it's a Kubota, it's every night, back and forth. And fortunately, they're not on steel, they're on they're like hard rubber. I mean, they're going up, they're not like the steel wheels used to be, but I mean, they're.
Well, I noticed even on my Mole Road, the steel wheel that goes, it marks the road, and when they go off the edge, it tears up the road on the edge.
And we
You
fought
see
this, we
the
fought it,
imprint of the track. It's
we
in use 7 days.
I mean, there's no way to get around it right now that I know of. Gladly get the press involved, that would be great.
Yeah, so I just told him that I'd bring it up to you guys, but I'll just call.
We did fight that battle
Give him the.
a couple years ago. We spent all this money and then they fresh blacktop right over.
Yeah. So, just so you guys are aware, that's all.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm not gonna, the other part of my road, the non-paved, I don't know if we should just consider, I mean, it makes it a racetrack, I get that, and it makes it a shortcut, but you guys, I think half of it's already paved now.
I would say,
Not quite.
close, but.
Not quite, but maybe it's an option to just think about getting the rest
I
paved.
think through,
Yeah.
Robbie had a couple roads, I think it was last month, that he said, hey, looking in next year, can you throw in an estimate? And I did put those in an estimate, I think that was one of them.
Okay.
Whatever it was.
They spend a lot of time, I know they spend a lot, it gets washboardy, and I know you guys spend a lot of time fixing it up, and I was totally opposed to doing it, but I'm like, man, it's half paved already, not quite.
Right, doesn't get on liquid fuel.
Then we get the liquid fuels.
I did have that. But we can, I'd like to do, I don't know the plan with the road work on 222, but I would look, next year, I would like to, we almost have all of them. I wanna pave the rest of the roads that butt up against 222 next year, so that we can have fresh roads for the construction. That way, when the state comes in and traffic detours and they all crack up, we can say, hey, this is what you guys messed up, and we did that before with Farmers Drive, and we paved the whole thing. And then after that, I think we could look at doing some of the dirt roads, like mine and Gift would be the two.
Oh, you said gift.
Gift was on the list, it has
Gift
a
was
couple
on the
more
list.
houses on it. That was on the list with Scott's stuff to check out.
Yeah,
But,
gives an erosion nightmare.
Yeah, gift is an erosion nightmare, and we spent that money on.
That was with the dirt and gravel road project, but, there's like 2 drain boxes that really should get put in there, but they probably were never in there because it's just a dirt road. But if we pave it, the drain boxes and the 2 pipes, everything will drain.
And there's quite a few houses on there. There's no houses that aren't paved on my road right now.
Just a farm.
Just
Just a farm out towards Richmond Road.
Yeah.
So it is on the list.
Okay.
But I think there's a couple other more important roads.
Okay.
that
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I just bring it up because I was totally opposed to it. And I'm like, no, now that I drive it, I don't drive it that
But
much.
it's not just the maintenance thing too, it's, nobody ever thinks about it, but I can't take a full-size truck on that to plow in the wintertime. The plow will just dig it up.
Right.
So, we have to reroute trucks.
Right.
Not that it's a big deal, but it's something that not everybody thinks about.
Yeah.
You kind of have to give special dedication to some of the dirt roads, just because the heavy trucks and the plows will just rip it up. That's just the way it is. So,
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Ron.
Yep.
Okay. Payment of the bills.
All right, the general fund, we had check numbers 12074 to 12107, including EFTs for $159,899.97.
Make a motion to pay.
So second.
All in favor? Aye.
State fund, we had no checks. Light fund, check number 2185 for $846.45.
Make a motion to pay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Sewer fund, check numbers 3338 to 3350, including EFTs for $60,341.98.
Make a motion to pay.
So second.
All in favor? Aye.
Walnut Town Fire Escrow, check number 2196 for $1,005.50.
Make a motion to pay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Virginville Fire Escrow, check numbers 2199 and 2200 for $21,983.87.
Make a motion to pay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And we do have the renewal quotes from Seltzer for the medical benefits that we had discussed last month, that's some carryover.
Where is that? I have a suggestion. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff here for me, Jen. Ah, here it is. What did I say?
File on the file.
Bottom of the pot. So, with the renewal, the proposed equal renewal is up 7,000. We can increase the proposed deductible for the township and use the MERP, keep the employees' portion the same. Our liability exposure, I think, is like 12,000 maximum, which we can hit it, but normally we don't. But we could save the $7,359. Actually, 8,000. Goes down a little bit. I think that risk is worth it for the limited exposure. Doing the higher deductible.
I probably agree.
The savings is enough there to take that chance. We don't need the MERP to this point is around $2,000 for the year. Our maximum exposure increased is like another 12,000.
So, that'd be fine.
It keeps the employees' costs the same or similar.
So we're talking about the one for 74,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
It keeps your portion the same.
Mm-hmm.
The township takes the increased risk a little bit.
Okay.
But I think it's a win for overall. Because if we take the ET, we're guaranteed to pay 8,000 more.
Sure.
We have no opportunity for savings.
Now, are we going to keep the 250 for single for the MERP then?
Yep,
Okay.
same thing. So you guys, you don't see a change.
Okay.
The township picks up the risk, but it's also picking up some of the savings too.
It's pretty substantial.
But it's substantial. And their actuaries figured out that they're not going to lose. So so I think that's what I, I make a motion that we renew it to 5,000, 10,000 deductible for 74,325.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I also have in your packets for the 2026 minimal municipal funding obligation for the pension plan. So the obligation is going to be for $38,897.
I make a motion that we accept that.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. The state reimburses quite a bit of that. don't they?
Yes.
Good.
And just a reminder, Thursday, October 16th, Berks County Convention is going to be held at the Ole Fair Center. I don't know if anyone has,
When is it?
October 16th, from
Thursday
5,
night.
from 5 to 9:30.
I'm in Dallas, Texas that day.
If anybody would care to attend, I just need to put their names in so they
I hear it's a good time.
can pay for the information.
Not me. I'm out. You go to Jeff, don't you?
The president,
Oh, geez, then it's gonna be good.
best potato filling going on for us.
Ooh, man, now you make me hungry. I didn't eat them.
I hear the show pitch every year. It is good though.
Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay, thanks, Jen. I don't have anything. Public participation, anything else from the floor? Okay, you guys have anything? Nope. I make a motion that we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Yeah. Never mind. Go ahead, finish what you're doing, there's other questions.
Sam, second picture is,
Mark, let me let you know that's the one you about to.
looks like, I don't know, I might, I don't know.
I can't do the fourth because I am in Nashville, Tennessee, but 25th I can.